Is there a Premier League captain's WhatsApp?
If it's just the players, I'd really hope there's some banter.
There must be like a meeting beforehand and there must be some clear rules set.
Welcome to the pre-match pint with London Pride. As always, I'm at my favourite matchday watering hole, One Over the Ait, and joining me for a Swifty this lunchtime is the skipper, Christian Nørgaard. Cheers for joining me, mate. And Brentford Women centre half and good friend Sam Reed. Also joining us in a bit is Karleigh Osborne. We've got loads going on today. The guys are going to go head to head in a game of darts. I'm going to be talking captaincy with Christian. And he's also going to be taking your questions that you sent in. Thanks as always for doing so. And of course, as it is a London derby special, we'll be chatting West Ham and Chelsea. Right, thanks both of you for getting involved. Got to be careful in this early chat because Karleigh is on his way, Sam. But I want to get kind of how both your seasons have been so far. So I don't know, Sam, first season with the women's team. Do you want to kick us off? Have you found it?
Yeah, no, I found it great to be fair. We had a bit of a rocky start, but since the new year has gone, we've really kicked into gear and got a lot of results, scoring a lot of goals, and the team is really working together in unison and striving for that promotion this year.
A proper media trained answer, first season. It's really well media. Karleigh's done well with that, hasn't he? He's told you all what to say before you come on these shows. Yeah. You've got the Gtech game coming up as well.
Yes.
That we've announced.
Yeah.
You of course played in the staff game because you also work at the club.
Did you play the staff game, Stu?
I lasted 15 minutes till my groin had to come off, but thanks for mentioning that. You did a little better than me. But how much are you looking forward to playing on the Gtech and big crowd as well, hopefully?
Yeah, hopefully. I was a little bit involved last year with from the staff side and stuff, but this year actually being able to play, we're very excited. Obviously with the way the season's going, and they're just basically the role models that we can set and the inspiration that we can have for young girls around Brentford area is great. We're really looking forward to it.
Christian, as club captain, how important is it that you're seeing the club do things like this and having the women's team's games at the Gtech as well?
I think it's fantastic, and it's very nice to also do these sort of things with players from the women's team. We did the photo shoot in Kew Gardens with two players from the women's team, and I think the more we can engage in each other's teams, the better it is for us to get to know you guys and the other way around. So I think it's fantastic to get players involved from both sides.
Well, thank you both for joining me today for the pint. I feel like I'm the lucky one here. Christian, looking at our season so far, as I keep saying as captain, I don't know why I keep saying that, but obviously you are club captain, but how do you look at the season so far?
I'm happy we're doing this after the Wolverhampton game.
For everyone that is watching pre-Man City and Liverpool this.
I'm a bit more relaxed. So I think it's been a tricky season. I think we started off really well without key players like Ivan, for example. We lost Rico pretty early. David was a big player for us. We had to replace him with Mark, and that takes time as well for him to integrate into the team. But he's doing fantastic right now. So I think we had 19 points after 14 games. I thought that was amazing. And then from there, it's been some very tough results, of course, and it's been really hard for us to get back to winning ways and get a run of good results. But I think now, as you can see, the players are starting to get back as well, more fit players, and I'm sure we will have a fantastic second part of the season.
And this is kind of taken away from kind of the London derby section, but at the time of filming, it's not long after Josh, as obviously we've heard that Josh has got a long-term injury. I know he's someone that you're really close to, and what were your feelings when you heard about what happened to Josh, or maybe even saw it at training?
Yeah, you never wish anything bad for any player, but if there was one player I had to pick out who really didn't need to pick one more injury up, it would probably be Josh. I remember last season when he was struggling with his hip as well. I also went out for dinner with him and chat about these difficulties that can be around injuries. Then he had a big hamstring injury, came back. I thought he looked really sharp against Tottenham when he came on. One of the players we sort of needed, 1v1 player, so good. And then players were actually in shock in training. You could hear the snap around his knee. Something just didn't feel right. They also stopped the training, which is not usual when someone's injured. So it's very tough for him, of course. But we're behind him and know that he will come back stronger as always.
Yeah, well, I want this to be a positive drink that we have today. You mentioned Mark as well there, and I think he's been pretty open about the start that he's kind of had. He's been probably, I think, very self-critical and maybe overly critical at times, but at time of filming, he's had the last 2 games been absolutely phenomenal. Is that where maybe what you guys are seeing every day in training, how good he is? Because I've seen the sessions as well, and I've seen the sessions that Manu's been putting on with him, and he is unbelievable.
There's no doubt he's a quality goalkeeper. When you played in the Bundesliga for that long, you're a Dutch international, you know you're a really good player. With his feet, he's the best keeper I've ever seen, even better than David, and David was fantastic. It's like when he does these he flicks the ball over an attacker. I'm so worried about it, but he never messed it up. So hopefully I haven't jinxed anything now. And no, I agree with you. Like, it's not when you go through the season he's been involved in a lot of goals, but we've just conceded too many goals, and the fingers will always be pointed at the keeper and the defenders, the holding midfielder as well. That's how it is. But I just think like the performance he's shown now in the last couple of games has been fantastic. And when you speak to him about it, he says, "This is what you can expect from me." And I really like that confidence. He feels like he's settled now. Now he's really proved to be a really good signing and good replacement for David.
I think it's interesting what you said about him with his feet, because I said it before, I've seen it so many times, you're like, he just dinks it. And I've also said, I think you're right about the David thing with his feet. I think, don't get me wrong, both incredible.
No.
I was surprised how good he was with his feet when he came in. Right, here's London derbies, as we say, before we go and play some darts. Sam, obviously you've come into the club, you're now a fully fledged Brentford fan, but you also work on a match days. Is there something special about the London derbies when you're working the home games at the Gtech? Because obviously got the Chelsea game coming up there.
Oh, absolutely. There's always just a little bit extra in the air as such around the stadium when there's a London derby, because you always want to. Obviously, Brentford have had some great results against them recently, so any London team I think should fear coming to the Gtech.
And have you got a favourite London derby game that you've played in?
Yeah, like Sam said, we've actually done really well against the London team, so I have a lot of good memories from the London derbies. But yeah, I think I want to highlight the ones from the Championship, because they were special against the Queen's Park Rangers. That's always the first thing you hear when you come. Peter Gillam talking about how much he doesn't like. He doesn't even want to call them by name. Exactly. So a lot of pressure was built up before those games, but I think we beat them 3-1 twice in my first season here. So I'll highlight those 2 games because they were pretty special. Yeah,
there's been so many amazing ones. Stick down in the comment section below actually what yours are. Christian's gone for the QPR one. Have you got a recent one that you can think of maybe in your time there? Weirdly for me, one of my favourite, Millwall, the comeback. But it's always something Fulham away. I love beating Fulham at Craven Cottage. I just love it. It's always on my birthday.
I was shocked when we were 2-0 down, so maybe that's why I didn't highlight it.
I've put you on the spot a bit, Sam. If you haven't got one, no, I just put it in the comment section below, like the guys. Yeah, do that. Right, we're going to play a little darts, and hopefully Karleigh will be over by the dartboard when we get there.
Perfect.
Right, here we go. A bit of darts. See what you got. Feeling confident, Sam?
Yeah.
What's your darts like, Christian?
Oh, not too great. I think I haven't really played a lot, but
you've got one in the games room.
We do. Ben Mee is on it. Nathan Collins, Keane, Lewis Potter as well. So they're gonna give me a lot of stick if I'm not good at it today.
Is there a theme there? The ones that spend more time in pubs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they grew up there. So
right, I'm not playing in this. So you guys will play round the clock. So you go 1, 2, 3. You know the rules, don't you? You lot know the rules. I'm going to be stood near the dartboard while we chat, Sam. I'm looking at you in particular. Be careful. So if you want to kick things off, we're also going to have a little bit of Chelsea chat. I feel like I'm quite far away from you guys, so I'm going to come in and out if that's all right. But go on, kick us off, Sam.
So I aim for 1.
Yeah, it's not a great start.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. You're on 1. Have I got to do this every time? Surely you lot can get your own darts.
Sorry.
You can get your own darts. Pass it on. Right, we are previewing, of course, Chelsea and West Ham. As your friend of darts, Karleigh.
We're going to distract me.
What have you made of Chelsea this year?
They've not been what you would normally say a Chelsea team is. I think they're going through kind of a transition at the club. It's not necessarily a bad thing for us that they're not as strong as they usually would be.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a great record, Christian, at Stamford Bridge, of course. At our place, it's been a bit trickier. As Karleigh said there, they are going through a transition period. So for you guys, when you're looking at them, does that make it harder to kind of preempt what they're maybe going to be like and what they're going to be about?
I think I watched them yesterday as well. Like, there's no doubt how much quality there is in the team.
Yeah.
But I agree, they don't look to be working as a unit yet, because there's still a lot of new players, and they stay figuring out with a relatively new manager. So, but there's no doubt there's a lot of quality, and this team you have to respect every game.
What's that like? Because you obviously joined in 2019, where there was a lot of new signings then as well. What does it take to?
I'm sorry,
That's our first swear.
Oh, we're going to do an interview and then play dart as well.
What's it like when you have a lot of new faces? How do you get the team to gel? Because that summer when you joined, obviously Matty, David, Ethan, there's a lot of new faces. So what does it take to get? Is it just consistency playing with each other?
Yeah, it has, and as you remember that season, we struggled in the beginning as well.
Yeah.
So there was some getting used to, but I think you need to get a culture. You need to have some principles to rely on, I don't know. I think Chelsea as well are trying to figure all these things out, and you see that you can't just buy a team and then expect to be in the top 3 of the Premier League. It takes much more than that. Yeah.
Christian mentioned the game. This has been filmed the day after the Palace game.
Thank you.
Sam, I watched that game, and Cole Palmer's playing like as a it's almost like a false 9. You obviously centre half for the women's team. What's that? Imagine that's a nightmare. How do you approach that? Right, Christian, please stop swearing.
But I haven't hit one yet, so that's why I'm. What are you on?
I'm on 4.
And
I'm to be fair, I haven't hit one either.
oh, okay.
Yeah, don't worry.
Right.
I'm struggling.
Getting our ass kicked.
As
here.
I was saying, you keep going while you're doing it.
Oh,
like,
God.
for you as a defender, when you've got someone like Cole Palmer who's not playing, because I was at your game at the weekend, and the striker.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll
double
give it to you.
foul, yeah.
I don't think it was. Playing close to you, what's it like for you as a defender then when you've got a player like Cole Palmer not playing right in front of you, coming into these pockets, coming out wide?
Yeah, obviously that makes it more difficult. You have to basically just make sure you talk and communicate with your centre midfielders to see if either we step as like the 2 centre backs, or whether you need to talk to midfielders to like drop in, and how to basically mark them and manage that. So I think mainly communication is key, but it does cause a nightmare because there's basically just filling that space in between us. So
That was good.
as long as we get the communication high, then we're all good.
So, Christian, in that situation then, if you're being asked by the defenders,
There you go.
you need to be dropping in and picking up Cole, does that then?
Sorry, I was contracted on
So
that.
say as a midfielder, you've got to pick up a striker that's kind of dropping into those positions.
Yeah.
How much of a nightmare is that for you guys in the midfield, because they've already got bodies in the midfield? So.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. You need to communicate, like Sam said. The centre half, especially with us playing with 3 centre halves, has to be talking the whole time consistently to me, the 2 8s, right, left. It doesn't have to be more than that, but it's just to keep your head in the game and to keep the awareness up about players around you. Yeah.
Another player who's been amazing for Chelsea this year, Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
Now, you've gone up against him a lot.
Scored 2 yesterday.
Yeah, scored 2 yesterday.
Thank you.
Because I was looking, I remember he played against us for Charlton. That would have been one of your first games for us. For Charlton away at the Valley. Do you remember we lost 1-0?
Yeah.
And he
Did
scored.
You play that game?
Yeah, he played that game. And obviously he played against us for Swansea in the playoffs.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then Crystal Palace in the Premier League. So you've gone up against him in a lot of times and seen his development as well. I didn't realize how competitive you were going to be, mate.
Of course,
I thought this was just going to be a fun little bit while we have a chat. But I didn't realise you just want to win. What have you made of his development?
He's not a typical number 10.
Yeah.
He often plays that position like an offensive 8 or 10, but he's a different kind of player. He's working very, very hard for the team, and I think that's why Pochettino is playing him, because he's playing in front of a lot of big stars who they paid a lot of money for. But he is just working for the team. He's getting really good at getting from box to box, and that makes him, I think, very important for. And he's a vice captain as well, isn't he? So there's no doubt that Pochettino really likes him. Yeah,
he's a hell of a player. Karleigh, moving on to West Ham, and it's with David Moyes, they've stuck by him for a lot. There's been longevity there, and I guess in the Premier League you maybe don't see that too much. But weirdly, actually, this season, teams sticking with their head coaches a bit longer. There's, I guess, similarities with Thomas in that regard, that he's being able to build something right. And what do you think that's given West Ham?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing it's given them is a bit of stability. I think West Ham, they're one of those clubs who they always have a period where you think they're going to turn the corner and all of a sudden they'll be challenging, but then it flips at some point and end up with a bit of inconsistency. I mean, after the game at the weekend against Arsenal, they looked really, really poor. But again, they've got some quality. So on their day, they can cause any team problems.
Yeah, and I think the big thing obviously for them this year, Christian, has been Declan Rice moving to Arsenal, which has been huge. But at the same time, when you look at the midfielders they've brought in, Phillips and Ward-Prowse, you've obviously, again, similar to Gallagher, you've gone up against Calvin Phillips on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
Talk to me about him and what it's like playing against someone like Calvin Phillips.
I mean, he's a hard hitter, but he can do something with the ball as well. So he's like a six who's very good on the ball, but he's very aggressive. Also noticed that the other game against Arsenal, some of the tackles he made. And it's been a tricky spell, of course, for him in City, being behind Rodri, in my opinion, the best holding midfielder in the world. You're not going to play a lot. But there's no doubt he's quality, and he will be a good signing, I think, for West Ham.
They've obviously got Jared Bowen as well, who's lively, dangerous. There's a theme here in a few of the people we're mentioning. Conor Gallagher, Jared Bowen, Calvin Phillips, all done a bit of an apprenticeship in the Championship. And what do you think that's given them? Because obviously you've done it as well. What do you think you got out of that time in the Championship before stepping up to the Premier League?
I think you're maturing as a player. You're playing maybe more physical teams. It's just a little bit different football. There are more games. A lot of the players do it as a young player as well. So you really sort of mature into it, and just playing it 3 times a week over the majority of the season is a big step as well, isn't it, for your body and stuff? Yeah.
You're going to London Stadium. First away game as a Brentford fan?
First away day, so I'm quite excited actually, because not normally get to go to the away days. Obviously been at the Gtech for majority of the home games, so now how special that is, but yeah, it'd be great to see the guys on the road. It's
an interesting away end at West Ham. It's like split in, you almost feel like you're in 2 separate stands. But what's it like playing in there, Christian? Because at the Olympic Stadium, it's because I remember when they get behind the team, that is loud.
Yeah, it is.
Even though you're far away from the pitch.
No, it's true. It's special playing there. And walking in with the bubbles as well. I always found that quite interesting. I remember watching the Green Street Elite. I know it doesn't have a lot with football, but I just remember the song about bubbles and stuff. So actually to lead the team in there is quite special. The only thing is that the fan sits a bit far away from the pitch, which is never something you enjoy, I guess. But like you say, it can get really loud when the fans get behind the team.
It's amazing. And look, we're going to be travelling in numbers as always. Sam's going to be in the away end as well. I'll be in there. And you guys have sent in some questions for Christian, so we're going to sit down now and we're going to put them to him. Christian, obviously at the back end of last season, it was announced that you're club captain. For me, I don't know, as a fan, that's always like a really prestigious thing. As players, is it still like a big thing to be named club captain?
I think it's a big thing, and it's been a really proud moment for me as well. And it's been special. Yeah, of course, like coming in every day, people calling you Skip. It's special, and I definitely don't take it for granted. It's very special.
I'm glad to hear that, mate. And look, I've got to ask you this, because Pontus mentioned this to me a while back. Is there a Premier League captain's WhatsApp?
Yeah, it's not really controlled by any of the captains. I think it's controlled by an administrator in the FA. It's not like a lot of banner in there.
I was going to say, is there any like non-official chat?
No.
You wouldn't dare even be like...
I might be kicked out for a lack of activity in that group, because I haven't really put anything in the group.
So what do you chat about on it? Is it like official things that you need to, like, as captains, agree on or discuss, basically?
Yeah, it could be like some meetings with referees, for example, where they obviously want the captains to be the one talking to them instead of a big amount of players coming towards the referee.
Yeah.
So it could be that. It could be new rules that the FA has thought about, or the needing, for example, which games are we doing it, and It's mostly just information that you can then give out to the rest of the players, but it's not something that you really sit and discuss for too long.
How does it work? Like, did Pontus have to add you, like, and then go, "I'm off, by the way"? Everyone, it's like,
I think they make a new one every season,
and you all get added. Yeah, what's the? So I like these things. What's the picture?
Honestly, I can't even remember because it's very rarely it's used. So I'm not even sure what it's called.
So I just love things like that. Right, let's move on to captaincy, mate. And Has anything kind of changed for you day to day now that you are club captain? Because I know you were in the leadership group before.
I don't feel like a lot has changed, to be honest. I mean, I had a period last season where Pontus was injured, and I felt like I stepped in as a captain. I know I wasn't the club captain, but I felt like the captain in every day, wearing the armband in games. So even though it was bad to miss Pontus, of course, for me it was quite nice to sort of settle into the position of being a captain. So it was like a spell of 13 games or so. And now being in more permanent is yes, it's a little bit different, but I don't think there's anything every day I have to think extra carefully about. Or I think there's a reason why you're the captain. You've been chosen by the gaffer and the coaching staff, and therefore just be who they choose instead of trying to become a new person, a new player, or try to invent a new captain.
Yeah, and you mentioned there you were captain obviously back in last season, and you've been captain on numerous occasions for Brentford on match days. When you walk out of that tunnel and you have got the armband and you're first out, does it feel different? So if you're maybe walking out further down the line, do you feel like, I don't know, like you've got a bit more responsibility on the pitch that day or anything like that, or a bit more pride?
I think there's some more pride in it. It's sometimes I have to pinch myself actually, because like walking, leading a team in on the biggest stadiums in the world, and captain a Premier League team, I didn't see it coming 5 or 6 years ago. So it is very special for me, and like you said, especially on match days, you really feel it when you leading the group out and wearing the armband as well.
You said you didn't expect it 5 or 6 years ago. So do you think you grow into something like that? Or do you think at the same time you can see it in younger people? Do you think people saw it in you younger as well?
I think that, I think maybe other people saw it in me when I didn't see it, when I didn't feel it. When I played in the youth national teams, I was captain or vice captain. And Thomas was one of my coaches at the time, so he obviously saw something back then. Then I played under a German coach where he actually decided that the players should vote for the captaincy, and I was voted second. So I was vice captain in the age of 23, 24, and that was voted by the players. So again, something that I didn't maybe feel or thought about, but other players saw it. So it's not a completely different role to me, something I have tried before. And yeah, it's something I enjoy, it's something I feel comfortable with. And like I said, I'm not overthinking it too much. I'm just trying to be who I am really, both on and outside the pitch, because like I said, there's a reason that other people think it, so try not to overdo things, if that makes sense.
So do you see anything in the younger lads that you go, oh, I could see them potential captain one day? Like, I think that the thing that a lot of Brentford fans say is they could see Nathan Collins one day being a Brentford captain. He shows quite a lot of maturity. Do you see it in some young players, and would you ever go to them, look, I think there's something in you here as a captain one day, or as a leader?
Yeah, definitely. It's something you see in younger players, and you notice it. And it's a full package thing, isn't it? It's how do you behave outside the pitch as well? Are you doing the right things? Are you speaking up when you have to speak up? And are you around your teammates? Do you know what's going on in the changing room? On the pitch, what sort of attitude do you have? Are you a big character? Are you maybe turning your back when the game is going wrong, or you having a bad spell? These sort of things. So there's a lot of signs, and you can tell them quite in a young age whether they have captain potential or not. But it also depends on what kind of captain do you want, because that's another question. And I don't even know what sort of captain I am, but I'm just who I am. And you could find someone speaking more loud than me. You could find someone more funny in the changing room. You could there's just different captains to different categories, and it really depends on what sort of captain does the manager want, or what sort of captain does the club want.
So what do you think makes a good captain then? We were discussing this a little bit before we started recording, and
I think he should be reliable. I think his players and his coaches could rely on him, no matter whether the team is performing well or they're not. He should be the one taking that extra responsibility. I think he should try and float as much around as possible. I don't know if that's the right word, in the changing room. I don't think he should be in a group with only 2 or 3 players. It's important to touch base with majority of the players in the changing room, because that's how you know what's really going on. Then you also have to, I think, find players that you really trust that can help you, because it's not a one-man show. Captaincy is much more than one wearing the armband. It's a group of more leaders than just the one wearing it. And I think in Brentford it's been easy both to be vice captain or third captain, but also be captain, because there's more than just one leader.
Who are the best captains that you've played under, would you say, or played with?
I've had a lot of different captains, and you try and pick out things that you like about them all. I enjoyed playing under Pontus, of course. He was a very close friend of mine as well. It was a different sort of relationship, because I was also the vice captain, so I felt like we did it together somehow. Yeah. Then I've had Thomas Kalenberg in Brøndby, who on a personal level really spoke to me, how he behaved outside the pitch. He was a role model for me. So he did things and behaved in a way that I really admired. Then I had one in Fiorentina where I had difficulty, of course, coming in. But even though he didn't speak fantastic English, he was around me. He tried to make me feel welcome. And German Pazzella, he played in Real Betis now. He's a captain there as well. So I've been really fortunate with my captains, and it's been captains that were very concerned about how the team is working and making sure that everyone felt welcome. So it's about picking up small things that you like and small things you maybe disagree with, and then you try and build your own captain, your way of doing things.
We spoke about there's a book, Captain's Class, that I read, and we were discussing it before, and they talk about different captains, and I think there seems to be, like you say, varying ways to captain size, but in this book they look at the most successful sports teams, and there's like a theme, and it's kind of this water carrier thing that was once an insult thrown at Didier Deschamps, but it's kind of interpreted actually as someone that doesn't need the limelight and puts the team first. Is that kind of something that you kind of think about day to day? Like you don't need the headlines. Don't get me wrong, you got them at Wolves recently, but like for you, is it just the team first?
Yeah, for me it's definitely the team first. I could be playing a rubbish game, but if we win, it's all good. And I don't really strive for this limelight or for the headlines as well. I don't really feel comfortable in it as well. I don't enjoy necessarily doing extra interviews or it's just like we're all different, and some players really enjoy all the attention that comes with being a Premier League football player. I'm not sure I really enjoy all these extra things that comes with it. But you also need the players that gets a boost from it, from the attention around you, and I think I don't know if water carrier is the right word, because I also think there's a hierarchy where the older players should show the younger players how to behave, how to come into a Premier League team and be humble, because maybe that's from my generation. It was not easy coming up when you were 17, 18 years old. So making sure that they know how things are done in the team, whether that's carrying water or putting the goals in place or helping the kitmans with different things. I think it's important, and it's part of the education as a football player, but not only as a football player, but also as a person outside football. So I don't know if, like I said, water carrier is the right word, but like I'm definitely someone that don't need the headlines or don't need that extra attention that could come with it.
It's what you've described there. I've actually written down the things that in the book they say made the kind of 12 best leaders, the most successful teams, and allergic to the limelight was the quote that they use, and you've kind of said that there. Carlos Puyol, famously with Barcelona, would hate doing interviews and things like that. The other thing is uncomfortable conversations, and I know that you're happy to have those, and that must be a huge thing. Actions speak loud, and people will follow you through your actions, how you've just described it there. So you're saying you don't really know what people see in you, but when I'm looking at what people have said makes these successful captains, you're literally ticking every box. Easiest way to lead is to serve.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
Yeah, it's true.
The other thing you mentioned there was and you mentioned it in the intro, spoken to Josh, and Ivan mentioned that you'd spoken to him. How big is that, those little relationships, speaking to those people individually and giving them time?
Yeah, it's important, and it's actually such an easy thing to do, but also the world we live in now, people are not as socialite as they were earlier. It's an easy thing to do, but you have to remind yourself to do it and go and, like in Ivan's case, just ask him honestly, mate, how are you? Like, I know, don't give me all the bullshit about yeah, I'm fine. Just tell me honestly, because what you're going through is not normal. Like, I wouldn't be able to go through it the way he's done it, how he's performed with all that was going on behind the scenes. Now coming back, just scoring 3 goals in 4 games, like he's never left there. It's remarkable. I wouldn't be able to do it, but it was nice to have a chat with him about it, because he also said, of course, there's things that he thinks about that's not been easy about it, and speaking with injured players as well. When you get big injuries, it's so hard, because you get a first phase of 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where everyone's around you. You see people coming with crutches there, hand over your shoulder, and you get that. It's not pettiness, but you get the support. It's like a boost for you. I'm ready. I'm good to go. But then there's a phase where the rehab really starts, and people forget that you're not recent injured. Then it's just like, then you're just hidden in the gym somewhere. You're not in the meetings, you're not at the stadium, your adrenaline is not pumping like it is when you play. And that's the hard part, and that's the periods where you have to be aware of the injured players as well, and still go and chat with them, and still like making sure they come to team events and those sort of things, so they don't feel like they're left out, because it's a tricky period for injured players, and it's probably the worst. I know myself, is when you're injured. Like the first phase, all right, but then just long phase of where it's just boring rehab job, and people forget a little bit that you're injured. Yeah.
Like listening to you, honestly, like, I know that we're going to have to wrap this up at some point. It annoys me because I wanted to speak to you all day about it, but listening to the emotional maturity as well in it, and like understanding different personalities and how they're feeling. The natural thing then people watching this are going to ask is, do you think then you'll transition from a captain to one day a head coach? Is that something that interests you? Because listening to you now, that would seem like the most natural thing.
Yeah, it's a natural step for some, and for me as well. I could easily see myself going into management or into coaching. I have a family I have to clear some things up with if I have to just bounce straight from being a player to a manager. But I think it's extremely fascinating, these different dynamics there are in a team, especially, and I haven't seen a coach really nailing it, and I don't know if it's possible, but like, you can't satisfy every player in your team. And there's quite a big chunk of players who, more or less, no matter the result, will be unhappy on the Monday, because either they didn't feel part of the win because they didn't play, or the team lost and now they feel like they should be playing. And to sort of create an overall happiness, or it's not the right word, but like making sure players buy into the concept or into what the manager wants, whether you are number 1 on the squad or number 20, I think is the hardest thing in the world, or world football, and that's something that really interests me, and hopefully I will be nailing it one day in the future. But I think it's a very difficult one to make. Yeah.
One thing I've always said, and I'm going to leave on this, I'd love one day you and Pontus joint management.
Yeah, that would be class.
I would love it, mate.
Yeah. He'd be assistant, but I like that you say that.
Pontus, tell us who'd be the assistant, Christian or you, mate? Mate, right, let's go. Cheers.
No worries.
Right, Christian, we're going to answer some fans' questions. It was one of my favourite sections. Thanks to you guys for sending them in. As always, cheeky face. Last week, you were KLP's favourite question, so we'll be getting in touch, and hopefully London Pride will be sending you a nice little package. Right, let's get into it then. First question. I like this question. Lewis Amore has just said, how are you, Chris? Just how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I am good. It's been a little bit stressful season, but I'm in a good place, both physically and mentally. And sometimes it's good also to have a healthy and beautiful family to come back home to when results are not at the best. So you need to also really appreciate the good things in life, even when the football is not fantastic all the time.
Exactly, mate. I couldn't agree more. Right. Finno at Chester's asks, what's your favourite game for Brentford?
It's probably Liverpool at home last year. Yeah, 3-1 game. Wearing the armband in Pontus' absence was just special. And then beating them, 3-1 at home. Setting Brian up for the third goal as well. It was, I don't know, it was sort of emotional after the game. It was special.
On that Brian goal, did you? I cut my heart stopped a little bit because I was like, has he given the push?
Yeah.
Were you guys the same?
Yeah, I was also thinking the same, but I don't think it was a foul, and I'm happy he didn't give it.
David for Keeley says, how do you cope not captaining when injured, and how do you motivate the team? So I think it's kind of like, how do you still be a captain when you're injured and not in the team?
That's a good question. I don't like watching the games from the outside. I think it's horrible. You're just like 2 times more nervous than when you're actually playing, which is crazy. But again, you're trying to be the same. You might put in a message in the group chat, but it's like, I think it's hard to do so much when you're not there. You can still be the same around the change room in the week leading up to a game where you suspended, but it's hard to do a lot when you're not there.
I remember in COVID days, you and Pontus were always in the stands when you were injured.
Yeah, true.
I remember Luton and at the Gtech a few times.
True.
And you were always getting behind the boys still.
Yeah, and we were loud as well because there were no fans. So you could hear us. Especially Pontus, I remember.
Blame Pontus.
Yeah. His words.
Sean Paul 96. If you could pick one former teammate to join us, who would it be and why?
Played with a lot of good players, even in Brentford that are not here anymore. I don't want to pick them because they left us, didn't they? Okay, on pure talent, I'll pick Federico Chiesa, who plays in Juventus now.
The winger, Italian.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, mate.
Played with him in Fiorentina, and he was like Messi on the ball. Like, it was crazy how good he was, and he was so quick as well.
His dad Enrico Chiesa?
Yeah, former player as well. Just for the pure quality, he was a bit annoying to play with sometimes. He had the proper Italian attitude. So every time you made a mistake, you given all this, and so that part about his game I didn't really like. But he was a fantastic player.
There were some players in that Fiorentina squad, weren't there?
There were. We were not doing really well, to be fair, but there were some good players. Blahovic, who's the striker at Juventus as well.
What's he like? What was he like?
He was young at the time, but like, I don't know, big belief in himself, and. To be fair, I'm a little bit surprised because I couldn't see it at the time how good he could be, but he's really performed for Fiorentina, and now he's got his big move to Juventus. He was linked to Arsenal, I remember as well. So those 2 players would,
Is there a bit? This isn't the Fiorentina pre-match pint, but like with obviously Batistuta, is there a bit more pressure on strikers when they play for Fiorentina?
Yeah, I think there is, and he was obviously a big name in the club, and whenever he came to watch one of our games, you could just hear the whole place.
It's all around
mad.
the stadium, isn't it? All the outside in the pubs and that, they've got all the Batistuta stuff.
Yeah, he's close to God in that club, so it's funny how they, like, if a player has had a good spell in the club, they really they idolise him, and they treat him very, very well.
Yeah, it's mad when I went there, I couldn't believe it. Philip Mode says, have you ever been megged by Matty Jensen?
I'm sure I have. Either in boxes or in training against him. He does like a nutmeg.
Does he call it after? Does he give you a bit of...
Nah. He's he wouldn't do that.
Do people do that on the pitch, like in Premier League games? Like if they meg you or something, does everyone ever give you a little...
If you say something, why you do it?
Like nuts or something like that. Like, do they ever say it?
Nah, not really. No.
If they did, you'd just shop them next time.
I don't know. I remember you did it back in the days when you were playing like in the schoolyard or something like that. But it's not really something you see in a Premier League game. I remember like Said, for example.
Yeah.
Even though he probably didn't say anything, but he would just humiliate the opponents, like the way he played. Some of the nutmegs he made was just a joke. It really.
I heard that he did a rainbow flick over Pontus, and Pontus was livid. And Luke Daniel said he did it to him when he was in goal as well once.
Yeah, he probably had done that, yeah. I can't remember him doing it, Pontus.
Right. That wasn't me that started the rumour, Pontus, in case you see this, because I don't want to say it.
But he did it against Bristol, I remember, away, where their coach, he went mad. He said, next time that your player does that, we will do this and that. He gave a nutmeg to a QPR player when we played at Loftus Road. It just went viral afterwards, yeah. He could really he can and could really do things on the ball I've never seen before.
Would that wind you up if you were again?
It would give me a little bit an extra. Yeah, definitely. It would.
Cheeky face, of course, the winner of our favourite question last time out with KLP. Do you miss Pontus?
I do, yeah, I do. And like I said, I miss him obviously inside the change room and the training ground, but I also miss him outside. I spent a lot of time with him. We saw each other's kids grow up together, and they went to the same nursery. Me and my wife had a really good relationship to him and Åsa. So it's more than just a player you miss, of course. It's his whole family and all the things we used to do. But you also get used to it in this world that it's so hard to really build close relationships because people then move and you just don't keep in contact the same way. Of course, I'm still keeping contact with Pontus, but it's hard to see each other as much as you did when he played here.
Do you ever speak to him about Brentford stuff now and ever run things past him and stuff?
He's still involved.
Yeah, he's still involved in the changing room. I love that.
Yeah, I remember I spoke to Phil Giles the other day, and he was like, I found myself talking to Pontus about something. So I thought, instead of talking to our former captain, why not speak to our current captain? And it says a lot about Pontus. Like, he's just involved in everything. And speaking about captaincy, I'm a bit different when it comes to that. But that's also one of the things I liked about him, that he would never let anything go unnoticed.
Mate, as a fan, like hearing that he still cares so much.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
Really?
That's crazy. Yeah, also about players, injuries, for example. It doesn't take more than 24 hours, then the physio would have had a message from Pontus, what's the report on this player? Like, and he's not even here anymore, but he's still like, for him it's still important, of course. And I think he left the club in a good way, and he still cares about the players. So he's a Brentford fan, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, the physio chat could be about his fantasy team, to be fair, because I know he's big on fantasy football.
That could actually be. Maybe he doesn't really care about it.
He just wants
points,
to know who to put in.
Yeah, no, true. I gave him way too much credit there, didn't I? Yeah,
exactly, mate. One, Jaspal, can you tell us your skincare routine? There's a lot of people in the room, by the way, desperate to know your answer here.
Why? I don't really have any. I don't really have good skin, so
they can't believe it. They're livid.
No, I don't.
No.
No, I don't know. I wash my face in the evening and put
glad
some.
to hear it.
Put some. No, that's a new thing for me. That's a new thing for me. That was like an advice I think my wife gave me. You should wash your face before you go to bed. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Well, hang on, your wife to tell you that?
Yeah.
You don't wash.
No.
Do you not wash? I wash my face every day.
Yeah, but I didn't really think about that.
You play football?
I play football. You know, go in the shower. I have, of course, but like it was not like a routine I had to do before bed. But now my wife is making sure I do the right. How is that the same?
Do it at the same time.
I thought it was something like, no offense, but I thought it was something only women did before going to bed. Until I found out you probably have to do it to keep us like.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
When you brush your teeth, do you move the brush or the face? Because I think it was Keane.
Brush.
Yeah, Keane I think moves the face.
That's weird.
Yeah, he's a bit weird, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Can I also ask, have you ever had a beard? This is getting weird.
Yeah.
You have had a beard?
No, I can't get it.
Yeah, I'm the same, that's why I asked.
I actually just shaved it off today, or whatever was there. It's not really a beard.
And once a week, what about you?
No, I'm starting to leave a bit longer actually, and then just take the sides and then leave this part.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, it looks horrible, but I'm just lazy and it's something I would like to get one day, but I'm turning 30 next month, so I think the ship has sailed maybe for me.
Mate, you never know. So you get the beard first, I mean, this is back to football and a bit more normal. Okay. Macy wants to know, who's your hero in sport? I
think when I grew up playing football, it was Zinedine Zidane. When he moved from Juventus to Real Madrid, I really idolized him, and he was a player that I looked up to. Later on, after getting a bigger interest into golf, it's been Tiger Woods. I've been so fascinated about his mentality when he was playing tournaments. He was just like ruthless, relentless. Like he won everything for a decade or 2 decades, where just no one could get close to him. Yeah. So yeah, he'd probably be the one I'd be most like
interested in.
Yeah, interested in talking to, or
Do you get interested in other sports and other players? So I know we had the little captains chat, and you said that the All Blacks obviously came into training.
Yeah,
Is
I
that something
thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
I would like to look more into and speak to athletes doing different sports. I think often you only think you can compare to other team sports, but I mean, even tennis players or golf players, there's something about the mentality about it that you can also use in team sports and as an individual in high performance.
Just when you thought it was getting serious, we're going to end on another silly one, but if you're too lazy to wash your face, I don't know what's going to be the answer here. Contact you, Celine. What's your favourite dish to cook at home? Not cook.
I don't cook a lot. I don't. Something that involves pasta, because that's very versatile and you can just you can always mix up in different ways. But yeah, I'm struggling when I'm alone with the kids and the wife is out of the house.
Deliveroo.
Yeah, exactly.
Just behind the boxes.
Yeah, 7 months you just get like a Five Guys burger and no.
Of course not, you're an athlete. Well look, mate, thanks so much for coming down on Pre-Match Pint. Thank you guys for sending in your questions. And 2 big London derbies to come up, West Ham and Chelsea. Can't wait for them both, and cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
You Reds.